Hello.
Salam and good evening to you, worthy friend. Please, please come closer.
Too close. A little too close.
Everyone, this is a bit weird. We're once again all in the same room. I don't know how well you can hear us, but it's me, and with me this evening is Susan. Good evening, Susan.
Hello.
How you doing?
She's just saying hello to me, but everyone else is still here.
I know, we're all kind of sat here together, so the sound might sound a little, I don't know how the sound's going to sound, but if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be pleased to know you're about to see us in a minute, because we're going to put that up as well. Good evening, Katie.
Hello, welcome to my house.
We are in Katie's house. Yes, and also sick notes with us. Hello, John.
Oh, don't call me sick, no.
John's been really poorly.
I've been sick.
John's been ill. He's been a poorly boy, but he's managed to make his way here. Gareth's just had a bit of a, a bit of a vomiting thing, and he hasn't made it.
Yeah, at least
but
I was
John's had
sick.
organs removed, and he's actually here. So we blame Gareth for that. So I have no doubt we've now got a text message from Gareth in the WhatsApp group going, "What are you chatting about me for?" Which is probably what's happening, but it's all fine. So if you are watching us live on YouTube, you can join in as always, send us a live chat, and we're going to show you our lovely faces, which I'm going to put up. Are you ready for this? Now, he says, it all worked. Brilliant.
No.
Hello. Try it now. Ready?
Oh, there we are.
No, there we are. Hello.
Do you know what? Do you know what that felt like? Do you remember Noel's house party?
What? We're going to go live. It never actually happened.
Wasn't it recently Antidex and Takeaway they do that as
Did
well?
they really?
Yeah, Noel's house party was way before Antidex.
Okay,
Maybe the original.
Oh, jeez.
So, anyway, the reason we are... Did you lose your phone?
We've got a token, Gareth.
Got a token, Gareth.
Gareth's here, there he is.
Oh,
hello, Gareth, there you are. So...
I am Gareth.
Oh, the poor boy. The poor boy. We're all together because, believe it or not, this weekend marks the 10th anniversary of Disneybrit. 10 years.
Amazing.
Like I've just realised we share our anniversary with Marvel Studios. That's their 10th this year as well.
Is it? Oh, there you are.
I'm sure that's right. I might have got that wrong. So, always copy. So, to celebrate, Katie has brought up. What are we all drinking, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh!
What we're all drinking? Yes, we're all drinking.
I call it shade!
Shade, darling.
We're all drinking Prosecco this evening. Yes. So what we've been up to, we've all got together. We're all up in sunny Newcastle, where we have enjoyed a day at where, Susan?
Beamish.
Beamish.
You thought I was going to forget there.
I thought she was going to forget Beamish. She's got it right. It took her a little while to actually learn what Beamish was, but we're now at that point where she does actually know what Beamish is.
And we have to say a big thank you to Paul.
Oh,
yes. A big shout out to Paul from Beamish, who was absolutely fantastic this morning and shared his amazing Star Wars knowledge. You would be impressed.
Oh, would I?
He's met Mark Hamill. He's met
wow.
Carrie Fisher. Like
princess.
everybody. And we're jealous, but we met Mark and we said we'd give him a shout out, and so hopefully Mark is Paul.
Paul.
Where did I get Mark?
Who's Mark?
I don't know. Mark Hamill, because I just said Mark Hamill. That's fine.
Yeah.
So Paul said he was going to listen to us while walking his dog. So hopefully he's walking his dog now, which is good. Yes, thank you, Paul. We also need to say a shout out to Lee from Birmingham, who contacted us this week and said he wanted us to say hello. So. Hello, Lee.
Hi.
Hello, Lee. And that's it. So what are we doing on today's show? A couple of things. I want to talk to you about the Muppets, which I had the joy of going to see a few weeks ago. And Susan's got a game, everybody.
Yeah.
Susan has a game.
I've got a game this time.
Susan has a game. Does it require answering questions? Actually, we need to share something. John, I need to ask you a question. You know, in
I'm scared.
It's fine. You know in Mickey and the Magician?
Yes.
When
no!
when Mickey's feeling really sad and he's sat there and he's feeling down,
Yeah.
he says something in French. What does he say? Do you know?
He says, oh no,
Je
je suis désolé.
Okay, Je suis désolé. So, we were in the car on the way up. Je suis désolé. Yeah, he does. So we were sat in the car on the way up here, and we were doing giraffe, right like that. And then all of a sudden, in the back of the car, Susan goes, "Petit déjeuner."
That's breakfast.
Yeah. Why are you saying breakfast in Mickey's voice? And she was like, well, that's the thing he says when he's really sad, isn't it? Petit déjeuner. It's like, no, Susan, it's je suis désolé. Petit déjeuner is breakfast. So we
Crack on, guys. Crack on.
so we thought I'd share that with you because we thought it was quite an entertaining one. So apparently,
Almost like when I said je voudrais French people.
je voudrais French people.
What I meant was je suis désolé French people.
I am sorry, French people.
I am sorry, French people.
Oh,
Instead
petit
of I want
déjeuner.
French people.
So, right, Katie, you're going to crack open the prosecco
Yes,
because it just
let's
won't be the same
crack
without.
it open.
So, let me talk to you a little bit about Muppets. My program's upstairs.
Oh.
Shall I go and fetch the program?
Yeah.
I tell you,
Well,
I'm going to
whilst
go.
we're
You
opening
open the
this
prosecco. I shall go and get the program, and you shall fill. Go.
Oh, this is us now.
Filler.
Go.
Right, he's just left the room.
Right,
guys.
so,
Right.
so what
ready?
Adam doesn't know is that now that the 10 year... Oh, bloody hell.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Disneybrit! Now that 10 years have passed, it's time we start phasing out the old and into the new. So
Welcome
he's
to the
first.
new
So
Disneybrit
he's first to go.
Team.
He's first to go. Look, I've even got the headphones now. I can prove it. You can hear music.
Funny that.
See, you can hear the background music.
You've been throwing
We
shade
can't
on me
hear
left
it.
and right.
Well, I call it
Miss
shade.
Flora would say, I've got a shade.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, go see Miss Flora.
Yes, to go to Michelle. So, what I've got with me now. Here we go.
Oh, Miss
It's-
Flora in the tower.
What's really weird is the fact that we've got the YouTube stream up as well, and we can see what we've just done, which is really weird. So, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, back on, can't even remember what the date was now. Back on the 14th of July, I had the chance to go to the O2 to go and see the Muppets. It's the first time the Muppets have performed in the UK or in Europe live ever, and only a couple of years ago, it was last year, wasn't it, that they did the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, whoa, no.
So I need to separate. Oh, are we doing a quick cheers?
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Oh, it's not like Love Island. They have plastic glasses. Anyway, yeah, Love Island. Not that I watch it, but if I did,
Sorry.
I'd know that.
Do you watch Love Island?
So I need to separate my review into two things. I need to separate my review into the experience of the show and the experience before the show and of everything that goes with it.
Pre-show.
So pre-show sort of thing. So first off, the show, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It was kind of like being a child all over again, and you were sat watching all of those things that you remember from Saturday evening, sat in front of the television. Phenomena was in there, the Rainbow Connection was in there. What's wrong? Are you doing it? Is that the medication? Yeah, it is. They did Happy Feet, or no, Dancing Feet, sorry, that Kermit does when he does his tap dancing. We had Pigs from Space back, which was amazing, and we had Peter Davidson come back as Doctor Who for Pigs in Space, which was okay. Pigs in Space was good. We had the Swedish chef who did the night I saw it. He did. What is that? Oh man, the Swedish chef did
He's
a.
actually had a sip of
Yeah, I know what's going on. The
I
Swedish.
mixed it with my medication and hello.
The Swedish chef did a sketch with Adam Hills from The Last Leg, and it was genuinely the funniest thing of the entire evening, which was the Swedish chef, a sheep, and Adam Hills attempting to make haggis. If you get a chance to find that, do, because it's hilarious. I don't think it would have been as good on the Friday. We had the guests we had Adam Hills, we had Peter Davidson, and we had Anthony Head of Little Britain / Buffy fame.
Oh,
Yeah, so he was on. So he was on to talk. He was doing a history of Britishness and all this sort of stuff. And it was Giles, yeah. And Pepe Le Prawn kept coming in, and they ended up raving on stage, which was really weird. It was the proper kind of Muppets humour, where we had really random things. So we had what was supposedly a song for hair, and it was just lots of pieces of hair singing on stage, and it just ended. We had ghosts singing some sort of ghoulish thing, and then that just ended. The Electric Mayhem were phenomenal, and they even did, I don't know whether you all saw the YouTube video when they did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Which kind of took the internet by storm.
Yeah.
They did a live version of Bohemian Rhapsody like it was in the video, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Just, yeah, brilliant. I think it was kind of one of those shows that if you had a nostalgic kind of opinion of the Muppets, you'd have loved it. If you didn't have a nostalgic feel for the Muppets, you would have come away feeling a little bit bemused at what it was that you just saw. So
that would have been me.
Yeah, so Gwen kind of came away going, it was good, but I don't get what would the massive kind of cheers and everything were for, because there was a lot of stuff where it happened and you kind of, people were like, why has that happened? And if you knew the Muppets, you knew what happened. They had a whole parade of really random, rare Muppets characters at one point, which a lot of people were like, I have no idea what's going on here. But it was nice because they included the newer characters, so we had Walter in there, and we had some of the characters that had come out in the films. We had Statler and Waldorf, but this is the only disappointment was...
Gareth replied.
Gareth replied. What's he replied with?
It's bad taste to spick. To spick?
To what? It's bad taste to...
It's bad taste to speak ill of the dead. Technically, I'm not yet, but I could be.
So Gareth's dying apparently. So
sorry, Gareth.
Sorry,
Toast to your health, Gareth.
Cheers, Gareth. Cheers.
Toast to your poor health, Gareth. And toast to your bottom.
Anyway, so the biggest disappointment for me, this has all gone horribly wrong, right, isn't it?
We knew it would.
Is that Statler and Waldorf weren't live.
Oh.
It was all done via video, which was a real disappointment because I kind of hoped that they would be live on stage. I can see why they've done it because a lot of there's kind of sort of 5 main Muppet actors who do all of the voices, and they're too busy doing this character and this character and this character. So then getting to do Waldorf and Statler and then coming back again was probably quite difficult. Some of the technical elements of the show fell short a little bit. There were a few moments where something finished and then there was silence before the next thing started, and you were like, oh, okay, this is a little bit awkward. Or a video played that shouldn't have played again. So there were a few moments that felt a little bit amateurish, but not in the way that the Muppets try and be amateurish on purpose.
Right, okay.
So it's kind of a few moments like that that were difficult or tricky. But on the whole, to be honest, the show was fantastic and was really good and was well worth it seeing. Now, on the flip side of that, what I think I need to make really clear is that it wasn't the Muppets coming to London to do a show. It was a company called AEG who kind of brought the Muppets over. So the Muppets did what the Muppets do, and they did that very well. And then AEG were kind of responsible for the marketing and the promotion and all the stuff that sort of went with it. So when they first announced it, they announced that there would be the show, there would be a green carpet, there would be fancy dress competitions, there would be screenings, there would be food, there would be a celebration of all the Muppets. None of that happened. All we got was the show. So there were people who turned up in fancy dress, had no idea what was going on with that. There was no green carpet. There was no screenings. There was nothing other than the show itself. There was a kind of a special VIP meet and greet that people paid a hell of a lot of money for, which was to meet some of the Muppets and the kind of puppeteers beforehand. We bumped into a guy who we were watching the football with before we went in, who had got the VIP and he was going to meet Kermit. Can I point out he was wearing a Sesame Street t-shirt? Right, what is this all about? Because I had a bit of a rant about this, about people turning up in Sesame Street t-shirts to see the Muppets when they're not even the Muppets, but that's by the by. So there were some people who met some of the characters, but everything else just was missing. So on top of that, we paid for our tickets and we paid for them back in, I don't know when did I tell you I booked them? Was it like January, February time?
Something like that.
So I booked them well in advance, and we booked, we were higher up, but I kind of understood that would be the case, and that's absolutely fine. And we got ourselves all prepared for knowing where we were going to be sitting. And then like 3 days before, on my Facebook, I got a sponsored post that told me they were selling best available tickets for £25 each. And I went, hang on, I'm sorry, what? And I went on, and actually it was the case that I could buy 2 £100 tickets for £25 each. And they were about 3 rows from the front. And at that point, I did see red a little bit. And I get the whole kind of like, sometimes if you're late to the last minute, you might get a bargain and all that sort of stuff. But when you're selling top price tickets for cheaper than what I paid for within the bottom category of tickets. At that point I was like, right, I'm really not happy about this. So I rang the company and they were kind of like really apologising and we're really sorry, you know, this has happened and we'll see what we can do, etc, etc. And they went away and they came back and they sort of said, well, the promoters have said if you want to upgrade you can upgrade, but it'll cost you what the difference in ticket is. So if you want a £100 ticket, you're gonna have to pay the additional on top of what you already paid. And I was like, but what happened to the deal that was on for £25 tickets? They're like, well, no, because that's not us and that's not them, and they couldn't give me a confirmed answer. So I kind of had another rant and they came back the day before and said, oh, we've moved you. I was like, oh, brilliant, that's good news. Yeah, we've moved you to right next to the stage. And I was like, great, this is even better, I've been moved right next to the stage. And then she sent through my new tickets and I hadn't been moved right to the next stage. I'd been moved right to the very back of the auditorium. And I was like, dark. What? It was a bit dark. I was like, what? What's going on here? So I rang them up and they said, oh yeah, we're really sorry. I think we've got it slightly wrong and I do apologise, blah, 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 blah. But we have moved you because of the inconvenience. And I kind of went, right, okay, that's fine. But they said, if you've got a problem with it, turn up early and go to the customer services desk. So again, this is still AAG, this is not the Muppets. So we turned up 3 hours before door opened. So doors opened at 6:30, I turned up at 3:30 and said, where's the customer services desk? I've been told to turn up really early to talk to them. They went, oh no, you can't get into 6:30. I was like, what, I've been here 3 hours. I've got to be here 3 hours before they can get in. And they were like, yeah, we're really sorry, we've been told you wrong, etc, etc. And we'll try and sort something out for you. So it turns out that AEG having told me that they'd moved me because of the mistake that had been made, it was actually a lie, because they'd moved everybody because they closed the top tier of the O2 because they hadn't sold enough tickets. So when we arrived, there was this mass kind of shambles was going on, which was 2 people sat behind a desk at the stairs that got up to the upper tier, moving everybody that had got tickets for the upper tier. And it's only because we contacted them earlier that they'd moved us. So they apologised again profusely and they moved us a little bit closer. So we did get a really good view, which was good. But yeah, AEG, I think, massively dropped the ball on this. They thought that the Muppets were going to be a bigger draw than they were, so they charged a stupid amount of money for tickets. They then promised a lot of stuff that never happened, which did put a bit of a downer on the evening, but the show was more than made up for it. So I don't have a single issue with the Muppets whatsoever. The Muppets were fantastic, but it's AEG that I had the issue with, and apparently they've had the same. AEG have do kind of like the British Summertime Festival and that sort of stuff, and apparently they were snowed under that week because there'd been a similar issue with tickets for the Summertime Festival that they were trying to organise at the same time as they were trying to organise the mess they'd made with the Muppets. So hey, there you go. It was well worth going to see. It was brilliant. I loved it. And would I go and see it again? Absolutely. Would I pay £100 for it still? No, not at all. But I would, without a shadow of a doubt, I'd go to the Muppets again. I think next time they probably need to take over a theatre in London and do like a 2 or 3 week run. Do it in a much smaller, intimate. Yeah, I think it would. Well, that's the thing. The Muppet Show was set in a theatre, so if they took over like the Palladium or something for 3 weeks, it would feel a little bit more Muppet Show-esque in that sense. Because obviously taking over the O2 Arena, if we'd have ended up where we were supposed to in the upper tier, we wouldn't have seen a lot at all. Because
Muppets aren't massive.
Muppets aren't, no, and you realise just how small they are. Because obviously when you look at it, quite a lot of the time you can see the puppeteer and you can see the Muppet. Because they try and do it, but they try and only like the Muppet. So it's really impressive because you can see how hard the puppeteers work. And they scoot around on stage on these little boards and wheels all the time. So it's quite impressive to see that, but you wouldn't have seen the real intricacies of it that far away. So I kind of think if they're going to come back, they need to think about a slightly smaller venue, but over a more prolonged period of time. But I don't know if they would, because the majority of the show we saw was kind of similar to the Hollywood Bowl one they'd done, with a few added bits to do with Britain and British culture and all that sort of stuff. So bittersweet.
From the announcement to the show, like when we first got announcement that they were taking over the O2.
I think the announcement happened about December time, didn't it? It was December, January, and tickets went on sale in February, and then it was obviously May.
So they've had a bit of time to.
They've had loads of time, yeah, between February to June, and they were pushing it and pushing it and pushing it a huge amount on Facebook and on Twitter and all those sort of things. But I just don't think they marketed it to the right audience. I don't think they pushed it well enough, to be honest. The amount, because I was keeping an eye on Facebook and Twitter in the days before, and the amount of people who had said, "Oh my God, the Muppets coming to London," I didn't even realise. So I don't know whether AEG.
Like the tubes, like I
no,
didn't see like
no, absolutely not.
Posters or anything when I go into London and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see any advertisement within there.
No, And I think that's part of the problem, the fact that they didn't really advertise it. They didn't really advertise it properly.
Oh.
Gareth's giving us live feedback.
Oh, is he now?
If
the
you've
light
got,
went on because he said it was too dark. And then
if you've got any comments you wanna kind of throw at
then he
us
said
while
he
you're
was
listening to
putting his
this, then
thumbs
that's
up to the TV.
absolutely. He's putting his thumbs up to the television.
When I turned the light on.
So he didn't say anything. He just put his thumbs up to the television.
Some good lighting.
Okay, Queen.
So yeah, that's kind of my review of the Muppets. The show great. The experience with the promotions, marketing, production company. Putting personal lighting on.
Alright.
Yeah, they were shocking.
These lights might go up a bit further.
Those lights might go up.
Yeah.
Hang on. Right. Okay.
I'm quite dark in this corner. Oh.
No.
Yeah, but not from the bottom. You need to do it from the top. Sneaky.
Okay. So. Lighting your patch.
See, I can't just do that.
So this is the 10th anniversary, and we've genuinely, I can't believe we're doing this for 10 years. It does seem to have flown
You've
by.
been doing it for 10
I've
years.
been doing it 10 years.
You've been doing it for 10 years.
It does seem to have flown by.
2.5.
So have you guys been 2.5?
2.5 years.
Wow.
When was it? March?
Was it
Yeah,
March
March
2016?
Yeah, that's about right.
That is.
Okay, so you've been doing 2.5. That's cool. I thought what we probably want to do is talk a little bit about where we want to be in 10 years' time. So if Disneybrit is still going in 20 years' time...
Yeah.
20 years' time?
Well, 10 years' time, so 20 years. Where we would want it to be. I would like to be able to charge $199 to go to...
$299.
I would like to charge $299 to go to a not so scary Halloween party and show people around.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah.
A bit of meet and greet.
Yeah. In fact, do you know what? Don't go with Adam. Go with me. I'll still charge $299. I'll just be rude to you all night.
Yeah.
I'll just be sassy. I won't save you space and lines. No, I won't really talk to you.
At the minute, you'll be alright because you can get yourself a pass. You don't have to stand in lines.
I can get myself an easy access pass.
That's true. At the moment, that's, because obviously sick note here. Yeah, you can.
Valid up to 3 months after my surgery.
Wow.
Wow.
Cool. So, 10 years' time. Go on, Susan, start us off.
Oh, God.
Ah, she's on the spot!
I don't know, just a bit, I don't know, because stay as this group. I definitely want to, hopefully that everyone you stays in 10 years. I hope this carries on as everyone, no one leaves.
It would just be nice that if we do go another 10 years, that if within those 10 years we decide to meet up as a group again in Britain, that we all make it.
Yeah.
This would be good.
Because twice we've tried to meet up in the UK and it's never worked.
Well, I'm just saying,
And
we
once
three
we've tried
have
to-
made it both
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And
So-
once we've tried to we meet up in France and it happened.
Yeah.
This is true.
But like we've only got one picture to show for it.
Yeah.
We have.
And it's
One
not even in front of the
picture.
castle, it's in front of a fire
That's
escape.
one of the things. That's what I would like. Within the next 10 years, I would like a photograph of all of us in front of the castle.
Okay.
A castle.
Which
Any
castle?
Oh.
Any
Yeah.
castle.
Any castle.
Any
Yeah.
castle.
Any castle.
Any Disney castle.
Any
Well, I
Disney
was gonna
castle.
say
Okay.
specify.
Let's specify.
Yeah.
Not like
Any
Newcastle. We could have done that
Well,
one.
yeah, we could. Well,
If-
no, because
if Gareth had
here.
come,
So,
yeah.
no, but a Disney
Newcastle
castle.
have a castle.
Yeah, the castle of Newcastle fame.
Yeah, that's why it's a new castle.
How recent is the
It's
castle?
newer than the old
It's
castle.
very old.
Oh, so why is
But
it
it's-
called Newcastle?
Because it was new at the
Because
time.
it was new at the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah, anyway. I live in a place called Coalville, but it doesn't make coal anymore. So it's not really coal
But
town
it
anymore.
did, so that's why
But it
it's
did.
called that.
But that's why Newcastle's
The
castle was new.
Newcastle- yeah.
It's not anymore.
Well, I live in Manchester.
Great.
And we all know why it's called Manchester.
Essex. Alright.
The home of
So we've established
Home
what
of
Fan Art.
Fan Art and Self-Tan.
Gemma Collins.
Anyway,
JC.
Anyway.
so where else do we think we'll find ourselves in 10 years' time? I'd like to think, yeah, it would still be going, absolutely. I'd like to think that we will still be enjoying ourselves and loving it, and I'd like to think we'd be covering new parks.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
not just the parks that exist currently.
Yeah, so parks that don't currently exist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Disneyland Paris' third gate.
which should, in theory, within
the next
10 years, should be. Yeah. So, okay, what is the third gate going to be?
Oh, do you know what? In my honest opinion, I think we'll do an Animal Kingdom style park.
Okay, you're going to Animal Kingdom.
Oh, that's good.
Style. It won't be
Style,
an exact
okay.
replica because obviously
weather.
Animal Kingdom works for Florida because of the weather.
Yeah.
It's not the same in Paris, but I think it would be an Animal Kingdom style.
I think that would be good because it's quite different from like anything else that's
because we've established now that studio parks don't work anymore.
Well, initially I thought we were going Marvel. We were going to have a Marvel park.
So did I.
But now they're implementing Marvel into studios.
Yeah, I thought it would be like franchises. So Marvel, Star Wars.
Yeah.
That, but they're obviously going into studios to fix the studios.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going for something like Disney's Europe. I'm going for an Epcot,
like an Epcot style,
but a kind of European version of.
Wasn't there a rumor like a long time ago? There was a rumor.
There was talking at one point, yeah. But I honestly thought we were going to Marvel, but now obviously that's changed.
I
don't know.
That could work.
Animal Kingdom, I don't know. The thing is, when you go to zoos in Britain, when it's cold, you don't see animals, do you?
That's why I'm saying Animal Kingdom
so,
style.
It would fit quite nicely with the Village Nature place.
Yes, it would. Yeah, it would.
So that could tie together quite nicely.
And I don't think so. Well, so far Paris has done nothing sort of culture-y thing like with Disneyland California. They did their own sort of food and wine festival and all that kind of stuff, didn't they? Or they're still doing it now?
They're still doing
it. So
yeah, but they're doing
that's what they're doing.
Paris has just started again,
Is it Rendezvous something
Gourmand.
Whatever exactly, yeah. That's
all.
So they could do that then, if they, because they don't, as I said, they don't usually, or they haven't sort of been renowned to do loads of different sort of cultural representative
So
stuff.
it could be that they'll go down
and
that route.
they did that for the first time last year. It's the
But the
second
thing
year
is,
this year,
see, the thing is
brought
about
it back with more stalls this year, so I think it was quite.
the thing about doing a European themed theme park in Europe is everything's only a train or plane away. It's all
That is
so
true.
close.
I remember you mentioned this before.
It's all so close. It's all on the doorstep. So if you were to do it, it would have to be. I think it would go. I don't know, along the lines of like a celebration of France, like California Adventure was supposed to be, like this.
Yeah,
this
could be.
supposed upcoming new third Japanese park is going to be. It's supposed to be a celebration of all things Japanese. And, would that work as a celebration of things European, as opposed to here's World Showcase?
So now what we were talking about today, because what we've done today while we've been together is we've been to Beamish, which is kind of a living history museum, and we were saying just how good Disney is at creating realistic, real experiences from the fake. That if Disney actually did like a living history thing where they could take different places in Europe and bring them together and make them seem real, and they could add attractions and stuff to them like that and go down that kind of route of an Epcot-y country kind of vibe, maybe. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's just kind of a thought that could work, something like that, because we know how good they are at the stuff they do already. Imagine if they actually really went into a living history element, because there was talk of was it like Greatest America or something like that?
I just feel that they're moving away from that edutainment.
Possibly, yeah.
Imagine if they did a water park. Another Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach.
Well, there was talk, wasn't there?
It
was supposed to be a domed one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Volcano something.
Oh.
Yeah, it was volcano related. It was supposed to be by Disney Village, if I'm doing that.
Well, that's their next target.
Well, yeah, of course, Disney Village.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What about Disney World in the next 10 years? Where do we
see them opening another gate?
I doubt it very much.
No.
Not within the next 10 years.
Not when they're about to do the whole of Epcot. They're about to redo it.
Well, I think that's going to be the plan, isn't it, for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
You've got Star Wars Land, you've got Pandora open now.
Star Wars Land is next year, and then I think that, they're going to move their focus well onto Epcot.
Yeah.
And I think Epcot will be a good 5-6 year project.
So yeah, Epcot's probably, I think we're going to see a very, very different Epcot by the time they're finished.
I just love to see them add a new pavilion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that'd be good.
I
well,
think that might come.
there's talk of Brazil, isn't there?
Yeah.
Going in.
Yeah.
Spain is one.
Spain was another one. Australia was another.
one.
And then I think we'll see a big change in Future World.
Definitely.
I don't see a huge amount of what is in Future World now surviving.
In 10 years' time?
A lot of it within 10 years' time. I don't know all of it. So I think you'll find Soarin' will survive, Mission Space will survive, Test Track will survive. Obviously, Alexandria Adventure has already gone. I see Soarin' surviving, but I don't necessarily see the rest of the land pavilion surviving.
But
living with the land. Yeah. It's lost a lot of what it used to be, though. That's the only thing. And obviously, we've got the Circle of Life stuff that's gone. So we've got a big space there.
Is Figment staying?
Well, Journey into Imagination.
I think Figment will stay, but I think Journey to Imagination will be giving another iteration.
There was talk of it becoming a much bigger attraction and becoming on 2 floors, on 2 levels, because we've got an entire upper floor that's currently used for DVC Lounge. But there was talk of taking that out and turning it into a much, much bigger attraction. So it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. Captain EO might come back again. You never know.
Please no.
You can only die once.
Yeah, I remember going to see it when it first came back, and I remember seeing it, and I was with someone who'd never seen it before, ever. I was like, it's amazing. I loved it as a kid. It was the best thing ever. I joined in with the songs, all this sort of stuff, and we sat and watched it, and I just got, what on earth have you brought me to see? And you suddenly realise, actually, it's nowhere near as good as we thought.
It's awful. I never thought it was good. It's awful.
Oh no, I like it.
It's not awful. It's just not as good as it was.
I think I maybe quite liked it like the first time around because I was a child. But definitely not as an adult.
I preferred how Nash shrunk the audience.
Loved that. Absolutely loved that.
I'm gonna be controversial. I'm gonna say there will be no more Muppets in 10 years' time. Not just in the parks.
Like, at all.
I think Disney will sell the Muppets in the next 10 years.
Do you think?
Well, you think about what they've done with them in the past 10 years and how much of it has been successful. One film, second one didn't go off too well. The ABC television series didn't particularly take off. I think, sadly, it's a bit of a dying franchise now.
I don't know if they would sell it though. They might like let it die.
Do you think they'll just let it die and do anything with it?
Maybe.
I just don't know. What have they got left to do with it now? That is really going to revive it. So that was great. The Great Moments in History was brilliant. But again, it was for those people who really have a bit of an affiliation for the Muppets.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to do something immense with them, or I think they're probably going to let them die. I think we're going to see a real change in the Studios Park if the Fox acquisition definitely happens.
Yeah, they'll definitely.
There's going to be a
Simpsons
huge amount
land,
of
they'll
stuff.
add Springfield.
Well, the thing is, what happens with regards to Simpsons stuff with Universal? I don't know what the deal is with that.
I think Disney will use it as leverage to get Marvel off.
Yeah,
off of them.
potentially. But there's so much stuff there. Who was it who mentioned?
Keep Simpsons if we'll have the Marvel.
Was it one of you guys who mentioned Cirque du Soleil doing A Greatest Showman in Disney Springs?
Was that you?
So I was talking to somebody, and they said it wouldn't surprise me if, when they acquire Fox, if Cirque du Soleil isn't given The Greatest Showman in order to do something weird at Disney Springs. So a Greatest Showman and Cirque du Soleil mashup.
Wow.
Do you imagine what they could do with that?
It's Greatest Showman. I know it's massive at the minute. I know it's like really popular at the moment. But is it going to?
Well, they're developing the stage show at the moment.
Yeah, they're developing.
I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. It was such a massive hit. So I could see some of that happening. But there's so much stuff from Fox that they can get their hands on and develop. And I would say, yeah, I can see the studios really expanding and adding a lot more stuff for that in it. Because I see it becoming, I think Disney are now going down the land-specific stuff. So rather than going for a generic Fantasyland or things like that, they're going for Star Wars Land, Pandora, Toy Story, all that. I think that's what you're going to find now. There's going to be very specific areas. And I think that'll happen in the next 10 years.
Because obviously they're opening. When is Tron supposed to open?
Tron opens 2021.
21.
For the 50th anniversary.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I think we'll be really interesting in those 10 years to see what happens there. I think it'll be massive change, but in a good way. I think we'll probably find Mickey the Magician will end up at the Magic Kingdom.
No, they're not allowed to have it.
I know they're not allowed to have it, but I think it'll happen. I think they probably will. I think it'll happen.
I wonder if they still say Petit Déjeuner.
They might take Petit Déjeuner out. Yeah.
They might just have them go for
I want my breakfast!
Okay.
I broke my promise. I'll never be a good magician.
Is he watching?
He's Russian, yeah. That's exactly what it
That was
is.
me trying to do English in a French accent.
It's the Russian edition. Okay, I think then. So that's where we're going for 10 years. Susan,
Yes.
it's over to you.
Right. Okay. So after fan days, obviously, because we spent a lot of time with each other. Oh yeah, you need to make sure those ones. We spent a lot of time with each other during fan days. We even shared a room. So I've come up with a.
Well, not every night you didn't.
Oh, not every night.
Oh my god.
Some people didn't come home one night.
Some people decided to go to a party.
And Mummy Katie didn't sleep very well because she was worried about you.
Some of us decided to go to a party.
That could be also in the quiz.
Oh, could it? Anyway.
So this is obviously a classic. Would you like? Who's most likely to?
I was only babysitting Louise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of like I've got a range of questions where who's most likely to. We've all got cards. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll be able to see who we've chosen. And it's just who's most likely to do this, and then we will all sort of hold up our cards, and we'll also say.
We're just going to hold John up for all of them, to be honest.
So we've all got your like
this
your
is me.
me's obviously
Go
me in there.
Go, what you got?
So let's go for the first one. And I mean, put some questions down below if you think you've got any.
I'll make sure the chat's
to.
up so everyone can see that, just in case.
Who is most likely to?
Go.
Intro. Who's most likely to miss the Eurostar or their plane? Right.
Are you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1. Oh no! No way!
Me?
Yeah.
I'll put Gareth.
You put Gareth. John, Susie, Gareth. Okay.
So.
I'm sure I've had phone calls from you before now going,
oh yeah, which train do I go on?
So that's why. Okay.
I don't know if she's ever actually missed one though, have you?
No.
Not yet, no. But it was
the reasoning behind it.
What, Gareth?
Yeah.
I put Gareth just because he's got like kids. They might muck up.
I'm just waiting for the text. I've got a text.
What's your reason?
I think John, because I could just totally imagine him phoning me going like, right,
Right.
missed my train, but it's alright, it's fine. I'm just gonna get on the next one.
You nailed that in Brassett. That's a good opinion.
I'm just gonna get on the next one, and I'll have some crazy good excuse that they'll let me get away with it. And it'll be fine.
Like black you wearing to the next train.
I've put me because I've come close. I've come close to missing planes home from Paris.
Gareth's message to say kids took offence.
So you've come close to missing the plane.
Yeah, I've come really close to missing a plane actually.
Okay,
to be fair, one of them wasn't my choice, but I remember when we were at the 25th anniversary last year, and Katie was telling me that she likes to be at the airport like 3 hours before, and I was like, I just rock up like half an hour before the plane takes off. And I could just see her sweating at the thought. So that's why I think me.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay, who becomes more of a kid when they get into Disney?
Right.
Oh, that's hard.
That is hard.
Ready?
I've got
3,
mine.
Okay.
2, 1. Wow!
Wow!
Yeah, alright, we've all got John.
I'll put John.
Because he's the one that skips up and down and spins around in the circle.
Yeah. And potentially cry as well. There's a tear.
Yeah,
No,
potentially.
I don't usually. I get overwhelmed.
Callie,
but I
you
don't
do.
cry. I cry in Mickey and the Magician every time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
every time. Okay.
Gareth's playing.
Gareth's playing now.
Yes.
Gareth put Katie.
Gareth says Katie.
Yes,
Oh, I
Gareth.
thought, what, to miss a Eurostar?
No.
No.
Oh,
become a child.
No, the kids have taken offence to your comment.
The kids are
about.
waving apparently. Hello!
Hello, kids,
Powells!
To the Powell family.
We're going live to you now!
Oh, it didn't work. I'll say it.
Who's most likely to cry when they meet a character?
No, it's not that person.
Did you have Gareth up?
I did, okay.
Right, you ready?
Right, 3,
2, 1, go.
I've cheated, I have 2.
Ah, see, I've gone Katie.
I've put Katie.
I've put John.
I've put Katie.
I've put me and John.
So you win just on it.
You put Claire actually panicked.
Amazing.
I've said both of us because I think it's me, but haven't seen your reaction to Yaya.
Yaya.
Yeah, I was going to
Yes, but
Yaya.
also seeing his reaction when Robin Hood left.
Oh.
We were that close.
He was
weren't we?
crying for a
So
different reason.
I was for a different reason.
If you've not watched Susan's YouTube video from our fan days. You need to watch it just with John's reaction. Robin Hood deserted him. Okay, go on.
Okay, who is the slowest walker around Disney?
Oh.
That's a hard one.
Okay. Got mine.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Gareth!
Oh, Gareth!
I've said Gareth just because he's got the kids.
Got the kids,
and
okay.
There's lots of like distractions.
See, I
said
said
Katie.
you because we kind of meandered
Just
quite
meandered
a lot.
yeah. I do.
See, I've said Susan because she's always Instagramming or blogging or
That's
vlogging.
true. Because even
And
today,
you're like,
I was
she's
like,
like falls behind. Hello, granny.
That's true.
And all that.
That is true. A lot of the time when we were there last, we were like, where's
Where's she
Susan?
gone? Oh, yeah,
she's
she's
there.
Yeah.
Send.
Yeah, that's why.
But I put you because when we were there last year, we just
like, wandered
meandered.
around, yeah.
We didn't really do
Baggage,
that.
Me, baggage, innit? Missed that question from laughing. Okay, fair enough. Go on.
Who is more the decision maker when we're at Disney?
Oh.
Okay, you ready?
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Did you put yourselves? I put Adam. Just probably today, and you do it like you knew the times of everything.
Yeah.
And you literally it was the first day walking in.
Yeah, we know.
It was like, just to let you know, guys, the band is on from 12 till 2.
And we got there at 1. We got there at 1, and they'd gone.
What's wrong?
Adam, Gareth put Adam.
Yeah, you put me as well. There you go.
Okay, who is most likely to complain about the weather at Disney first?
Ready?
Ready?
3, 2, 1. No! Why
I
me?
put Gareth.
Why am I the one to complain about the weather? I love the weather. If it's hot.
That's why. That's why.
And
I
the thing
put you.
is the reason I didn't pick Katie or me is because we've been when it's rained.
Yeah.
And the two of us were just like, let's just get a ponchos up.
Gareth's put me.
Yeah,
The reason
come on.
I put Katie is because
be fair, I
Gareth
was-
surely should have a comment about the weather. Coming in.
he's put his in apparently. I put Katie because she lives up north, and anything that's not cold, she can't go with. It's her northern issues.
Nah, I'm a ponchos on and carry on.
Carry on, yeah.
Yeah,
You're at Disney.
definitely.
Emergency poncho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's most likely to complete the whole Disney resort set first?
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta
definitely
be.
John, just because he's
You're,
already
you're
done
about
talent.
5 parks ahead of the rest of us already, I think. It's nowhere in a million years we're catching up with that.
Definitely.
However, we might be with him. When
Ah.
he does
Yeah.
some-
Well, in theory,
So-
yeah. So it's just California.
in 10 years' time, I would like to have done.
Gareth also
All
put
of
me.
them.
All of the parks. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
that would
we've
say
got-
in 10
fair
years'
enough.
time, I'd like to do the whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's most likely to lose something in Disney?
Gareth, a child?
3, 2, 1. What's got you? Yeah.
Although I did
Definitely
lose
you.
my annual pass.
Exactly!
Exactly! When
exactly!
it's you, we're more likely to lose rather than someone else.
That was my logic.
Or unless it's Alan.
My logic
If
was
it's Alan,
we'd be
yeah.
more likely to
Just
lose
like
Susan.
And
Susan would be more
everything
likely
goes
to
away.
lose herself.
Yeah.
Guys?
Okay.
Hello!
Thinking about how long this episode is in time, let's make this the
Oh,
last
yeah.
one and see how we go then. So,
Oh, okay. Who's most likely to lose their voice by the end of the holiday?
I think we all know the
we
answer.
all know
to
the answer to
that.
this one, don't we? We don't need to do 3, 2, 1. We just go. Dale!
Dale!
Just listen. I've never heard anyone go so hoarse as I had when
So
they were
hoarse.
stood watching the 25th anniversary parade. Genuinely, your voice went from 10 to 0 in about 10 minutes. Of the rest of it, yeah,
The thing is though, is it did exactly the same at fan days?
yeah, it did.
that's true.
And it's all character related. Have
It's
you
always
noticed?
character related.
Yeah.
It's always character related.
Always character
Um,
related.
Oh, someone's just said, thank you guys for the mention. It was a pleasure to meet you all. May the force be with you all. Yeah! Hi, Paul from You didn't meet John. He's a sick note. He can't walk very far. But the rest of us, we were all there. And we had a lovely day. So that is just about it for today.
Hang on, we got a couple of questions on the Instagram.
Go on then, do some. What do the grannies want?
Let's see the Grammys. What did they ask? Oh, hang on, I have to figure out how you do this thing. Right. Yes. Okay. So we had. Who was this? We had. Oh, Abby Disney just wanted a little shout out. Abby Disney.
Hello, Abby Disney.
Hello. Disney on Instagram, and then we had some questions. So the best restaurants, bars across the parks.
Which parks?
Slash
Paris,
hotels, Disney Springs, Boardwalk to celebrate in. To celebrate
World.
in, so I would say this is world. So best restaurants, bars across the parks, hotels, Disney Springs, Boardwalk. And I would highly recommend California Grill and Flying Fish.
Absolutely.
California Grill definitely. Hoop to Do musical review would be another one.
Hoop to Do is awesome.
For celebration.
Yeah, I think the
celebration.
I did a celebration.
For a birthday.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Places like.
Be Our Guest as well as another one. Just
be a
for
good
the
one.
kind of atmosphere.
Some of your character stuff, so things like Crystal Palace or Chef Mickey's is a little bit big, but yeah, you could do some of the smaller ones like maybe Crystal Palace, 1800 Bar Fair.
Yeah,
that's quite a nice one, isn't it? Something a little bit different.
Yeah. It just depends what you celebrate.
Ohana.
Hotels.
Hotels for celebrations. If you want to splash out, you can go Animal Kingdom Lodge Savannah View. That's pretty special.
I don't think you need the Savannah View.
No, but it is pretty spectacular.
It is pretty special, but just for the little time you spend in your hotel room.
This is true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, Gareth said
Cinderella Royal Table.
Yeah, that'd be a really good shout. Cinderella's Royal Table is really
little
good.
girl's birthday.
Yes.
And Port Orleans Riverside Royal Rooms.
That's where I was going to go as well.
Really
Port Orleans Riverside is my favourite resort as it is.
And then of course,
but if you've got the
Grand Floridian.
Yeah,
well, of course, yeah.
Or the Polynesian.
Or the Polynesian, or the Contemporary to a point.
What about bars? Trader Sam's.
Trader Sam's is a classic.
Always Trader Sam's.
I've had some very good things about is it Jock's Hanger?
Jock Lindsay's.
Jock Lindsay's hanger. And I've also seen something recently about there's pins that you can now get from there, which you have to kind of swear into a secret society. And you have to kind of recite the oath, and you can get pins.
Right, okay.
Somebody did that on Facebook the other day.
What's that new place that's open in Disney Springs?
The Edison.
Yeah, the Edison. So then they do like shows there as well. There's like a stage and stuff. That's cool.
And then if you want a quick drink in one of the parks, I sat in the Brown Derby. I spent an afternoon in the Brown Derby just having wine.
Nice. Or 50s Prime Time. The cafe has a bar next door. I forget the name of. The Tune-In Lounge. Tune-In Lounge is quite nice to go for something a little bit different, which would be really good. I don't really like the person.
If you don't like the person,
if you don't like them, you can always send to T-Rex. Yeah, T-Rex.
Yes.
Next question, and it's the last question, which is: have you ever been to Walt Disney World in January? What's the weather / crowds like?
I've been in December.
I've been in February.
So December-wise, which probably isn't going to be a massive amount different. It's quite chilly in the morning, gets quite warm during the day, and then it gets quite chilly in the evening. January time, I expect.
I've not been January. I've been February. February was okay in the day. I managed to walk around in shorts and t-shirt in the day, and then had to wear jeans or a jumper at night.
In the evening, yeah.
Crowds wise, it wasn't very busy.
As long as you avoid the marathon weekend.
In January,
because they have marathon weekend in January, and that just gets stupidly busy.
Because the one good thing you have about Disney World that you don't have in, say, Disneyland is that they don't have the layovers for Christmas.
No.
So they're not. The attractions don't close down while they take the layovers down. Because if you were to go to Disneyland in January, I wouldn't recommend it.
I also
major attractions close down.
Don't factor in days for water parks in January. We were there in December. We managed to get like half a day in Blizzard Beach, and then the heavens opened and it turned very, very cold. So I would factor in water parks as an additional option if you get it, rather than a definite, because you'll find the weather might not be good enough for water parks, even though it's good enough for shorts and t-shirt. So yeah, nice time of year.
That's it, isn't it?
I think that is everything. That is us, which means oh no, I've lost my thing. Which means it is time for. Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it tonight?
Hear it.
I don't know whether you can hear it. No.
Oh yeah, we can.
We sang the whole
You did. Now,
really
no,
good.
it's all right because somebody had a little bit of a practice last night in the car. We did it in the car on the way down, but we can't. It turns out everybody still struggles with the tickety-tack a bit that comes at the end. Anyway, thank you for joining us once again. This is the last episode of the 10th anniversary and the first one of going into year 11, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's weird. But if you want to contact us, comment.
It's going to be a long.
It's going to be a long celebration. Is that what we're doing? We're doing an 18-month celebration.
Celebration. So stick with us. This isn't just it, people.
Yeah.
We have ideas. We have things planned.
We are now inside ears.
Yes.
So we're going to have loads of... Oh, can we just point out, just before we go, right, I want to make something very, 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 very clear, that there's quite a few people on Twitter and Facebook and things like that recently have been moaning about Inside Ears because of all the freebies that we get and the free annual passes and the free tickets and the refund. Can I point out, we get next to nothing from Disney. We get invited to some special previews, and if we do get invited, they might put us in a hotel for a night. We don't get free tickets. We've bought all of our annual passes. We paid for all of our fun days tickets. We paid for all of our hotels. We paid for all of our travel. We paid for absolutely everything. We pay for just as much as everybody else. We're just very lucky that every now and again they might throw something our way, and it's just that it gives us all of the news and all the information that we can share with you guys.
And then you guys literally hear it.
And then you hear it.
Tend to hear it as soon as we do, because
we don't
literally going.
Yeah, we literally send it out
live.
We don't get as much as people seem to think we do. So I just wanted to put it to bed now that it's great to be an Inside Ear, and we love it because we get the opportunity to talk to Disney, communicate with Disney, and share all that stuff with you. But it is not a jolly free holiday and we get thousands of pounds worth of stuff from Disney, because it just doesn't happen. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear before we finish the show.
Yeah.
So there you go. So anyway, if you want to contact us, you can. It's radio@disneybrit.com. You can contact us also by podcast at radio or radio@disneybrit.com as well. You can get us on Instagram @DisneyBrit. You can get us on Twitter @DisneyBrit. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time for another show where sadly we won't all be sat in the same room together, but you know, it doesn't matter anyway. So it's all good.
I'll have just seen Britney Spears.
You'll have just seen Britney Spears, so it's all good. And I'll have seen Harry Potter. So we will see you in a couple of weeks' time. See you then.